What's up, you guys? Forrest here with the FoCo Flow Show, coming to you from an undisclosed location deep below the surface of the earth. Actually, this is just my home office where I do some of the video productions and homework. And I hope that you guys are all staying safe and healthy amidst this coronavirus pandemic. So far, so good here in Virginia, although we do have many government mandated sanctions and lockdowns that are making it a lot harder to do anything that feels familiar. Fortunately, mountain biking appears to be okay still, so we're being very careful. We're being observing social distancing requirements when we get out there. Today I'm coming to you with a video where we get to review the 2020 YT Jeffsy. My buddy Jim recently purchased one. He was kind enough to let me give it a go, and I get to compare it to the Ibis Ripmo that I've been riding for over a year. So we'll find out whether or not it is the Ripmo killer that it promises and claims to be in some ways, or if it does fall short, where and how that it does. So don't worry, content from this footage was shot a few weeks ago and just now getting the video up. And luckily, mountain biking so far seems to be approved for all social distancing activities as long as you're not with groups of people. So if you're out there, we probably can't high five or fist bump, but we might be able to ride together. Comment below if you've ridden the Jeffsy or the Ripmo. Let me know what you think. And if we happen to be out there together, let's go find that flow. So here is the brand new YT Jeffsy CF Pro 29er that my buddy Jim recently purchased. To clarify, this bike was brand new here in March of 2020, but it's actually the clearance 2019 model. This bike is a 29er trail rated bike with a carbon fiber front triangle and an aluminum rear triangle. Comes with an assortment of E13 components with the cassette and the cranks and the wheel sets and tires, Fox and RockShox front and rear suspension with the Renthal carbon bars. It's a good looking bike. It was not quite as light as the Ripmo that I ride. It was just over 30 pounds, but a good bike at a really great price point. So there's something to be said for YT and their great price points because they are direct to consumer, meaning you don't purchase them from bike shops. But for a guy like me, I do have to put that in the sort of negative column because I need a lot of local bike shop support. I'm not particularly handy. Jim, on the other hand, can do a little bit more of his own wrenching. So let's tune in here as he gets a ride on his bike for one of the first times, and let's see how it goes. Nice. Little technical climb here. We'll shoot. So talking with Jim here, it's important to note that he had demoed the stump jumper and was coming from the Hardtail Trek Stash, which was a plus size tire 29er. So a little bit of the transition for him was just getting used to a full suspension bike in its overall behaviors on the trail. You know, it doesn't climb as well as a hardtail, and some of the preload and flow options that you have there are just a little bit different on a full suspension bike. Overall, his ride impressions were
were really positive. It's really plush, really capable. You know, as you saw there as we flowed down through the water spout loop over at O Hill in Charlottesville, and then climbing up this rocky gravel road that you see here. But one of his initial feedbacks was the E13 tires, as he felt himself washing out in a couple of different sections, not pictured here, but in other trails that he's ridden in his early rides with the bike, and some of the frustrations that he's had with that. That obviously can be swapped out with tires. I don't have any experience with E13 tires, so I'll chime in here after we get a chance to ride.
If I don't hit any chain link fences, I'll be right behind you. Come on, baby, stay on the gas. Nice.
So before we get to my first ride on the Jeffsy, here they are on the website. You can see that this was technically the 2019 version, purchased in 2020. So it was at a fantastic $3,000 price point, which is their clearance price for a carbon fiber bike, fully capable, really well spec'd out. You know, XT shifter and derailleur, a 9x46 tooth. E13 cassette, the Fox Performance front fork, and 140 millimeters of travel front and back, carbon bars, really well spec'd out for the price point. Hard to beat when you think about it from that perspective. Again, for me, the direct-to-consumer business model scares me a little bit. I need that local bike shop support, but you know, I'm not sitting here saying I haven't considered it because of the fantastic price point. So as we move over here, we're going to have a look at my first shakedown on the bike, my thoughts and impressions. So here we go.
All right, on the new YT Jeffsy 29er. I think it's the CF Pro carbon front triangle, aluminum. All right, so efficient climbing here. The guide R brakes, which I am familiar with. Poppy. There's a couple of spots on the dropper that are weird.
I forgot to mention that the dropper post on this bike is the TRS, I think it's E13 Plus, which isn't a infinite movement dropper post, but it has 4 settings that you can click into. I gotta say, I didn't notice that at all when riding the bike, which is a good thing because that was a concern for Jim and I both when we were talking about the bike.
Long downhill on the Jeffsy. Bottom out big time there. Sorry. All right, pedal through here. Good. All right. Good bottom out of that one section. Pedal through here. I think shock needs a spacer for a little more support there. Otherwise, bike feels heavier than the Ripmo. But not bad.
So if you could hear me talking throughout the ride there, overall it was a hoot to blast down the O-Hill Long Downhill, which is a trail that I know like the back of my hand and can compare bikes to. It was planted, it was fast, it was fun, but there was a really harsh bottom out on the rear shock on a really high-speed step down, and overall the bike felt a little bit heavier than the Ripmo, and I definitely felt like the suspension could have been set up a little bit better. But considering the price point and the overall build kit that you get for the price point, I absolutely enjoyed the Jeffsy. I thought it was a really fun bike, very capable, and able to have a ton of fun on. Hard for me to recommend it over the Ripmo, but then again, that thing is dialed in for me and my geometry and my riding style, and I've got volume spacers where I want them and pressure where it needs it and all of that stuff too. So I take all of that with a grain of salt. Again, I also spent significantly more on the Ripmo compared to the Jeffsy, and for that reason, I definitely would recommend the Jeffsy for the right customer who feels like they can do some of their own wrenching or don't mind paying the bike shop for their work that needs to be done. In the end, though, hard for me to say that I like it better than the Ripmo. As we prepare to finish up here, let me know in the comments below if you've ridden either of those bikes, the Ripmo or the Jeffsy, or something else that you think might be worth considering. And if I can get around to it, I'll definitely do a comparison video. So while we're out here finishing up, let's find that flow.